On February 28, 2026, an AI system processed over 1,000 strike targets in a single day. The humans reviewing them had 45 seconds each, not 45 minutes, 45 seconds.
Weight per target, 20 officers, over 1,000 decisions. That's not oversight anymore. That's a rubber stamp on a machine.
That's not a rumor, that's Operation Epic Fury. US and Israeli forces targeting Iranian infrastructure. And the AI at the center of it, built on technology called Maven Smart System, didn't pull triggers. It did something more powerful. It decided who was worth targeting.
I don't even know how that's legal.
I'm David, military technology analyst, and today we're breaking down how this system actually works, because the numbers alone don't tell the full story.
And welcome, I'm Sophia, science writer, and this is Curious Brain Lab, where we break down how these systems actually work. Because AI in warfare sounds abstract until you remember there were real people on the other end of every single one of those decisions.
Maven ingests enormous amounts of raw data: satellite imagery, drone surveillance feeds, signals intelligence, communication intercepts. A human analyst manually might process 30 or 40 targets in a day. Maven processed thousands, and it doesn't just identify them, it scores them. Each target gets a probability. How likely is this person, this vehicle, this compound to be a legitimate military target? Then it builds a ranked list.
So the AI didn't press a button, it made a list, and that list shaped everything that followed, because each entry isn't just a data point, it's a location, a building, a person.
The officers weren't deciding who to target. They were reviewing a list the AI had already built. Their job was to check the top entry, confirm the probability score, verify the target was male under specific rules of engagement, and authorize. 45 seconds next.
That's insane. You're not making a decision at that point. You're just saying yes to what the machine already decided. And when a system gives you a confident answer under time pressure, your brain defers to it, not because you're weak. Because that's how human cognition works. The machine becomes the authority, and nobody in that room chose for that to happen.
Military ethicists call this automation bias. When a system gives you a confident recommendation under time pressure, the human brain naturally defers to it. It's not a character flaw, it's how human cognition works. The machine becomes the authority.
Nobody thought to slow this down.
The speed isn't arbitrary. Modern warfare generates data faster than human cognition can process it. An adversary doesn't wait for you to review paperwork. If you're slower than the threat, you lose. The argument for AI targeting is that it keeps pace with the battlefield.
Okay, I hear the argument. You can't be slower than the threat. But keeping pace and handing over judgment are two completely different things.
Maven is actually considered the responsible version. It still requires human sign-off, but there are systems being developed and some already deployed where that sign-off doesn't exist.
So the human in the loop didn't disappear because someone chose to remove it. It disappeared because of physics. That phrase, human in the loop, is doing a lot of heavy lifting. A loop that physically breaks under jamming or gives you 45 seconds on a pre-ranked list, that's not control. That's the illusion of control.
The phrase human in the loop is doing a lot of work in these conversations. People hear it and assume meaningful control. But a loop that takes 45 seconds per decision, or a loop that physically breaks under jamming, that's not control. That's the illusion of control.
And what makes it worse is that the next step isn't an accident either. Systems are being built right now where there is no loop at all, not broken by jamming, just never there to begin with. The gap between human oversight and machine decision keeps getting wider, and it's widening by design.
And the next step is already being taken. AI systems that don't require a human loop at all, not because the link was jammed, but because the system was designed that way from the start. That's not a malfunction. That's the direction this is heading.
I have to ask the obvious question. When the AI gets it wrong, who is responsible?
When the AI gets it wrong, and it does get it wrong, international humanitarian law has no answer. The Geneva Conventions require a moral agent, someone who can be held accountable. AI systems don't have moral agency. The programmer didn't pull the trigger. The officer had 45 seconds and a probability score. The commander deployed the system. The company sold it. Responsibility evaporates up and down the chain.
So there's a real documented scenario where an AI targeting system kills a civilian and no one goes to prison. International lawyers call it the responsibility gap, and here's what sits with me the most. It's not that the engineers were reckless. It's not that the officers were cruel. Everyone inside that system was responding rationally to their own constraints, and the system produced outcomes that nobody individually actually chose.
International lawyers call it the responsibility gap, and it's not accidental, it's structural. No major military power has an incentive to close it, because closing it means slowing down, and no one wants to be slower than their adversary.
That's the thing that keeps sitting with me through all of this. The harm isn't coming from bad people, it's coming from a structure that nobody designed end to end, and that makes it so much harder to fix.
That's why the UN deadline at the end of 2026 for an autonomous weapons treaty matters. 166 countries voted for binding regulation. 3 countries are blocking it. The names won't surprise you. And political problems, unlike engineering problems, don't have neat solutions.
That's why understanding how it actually works matters. Not the headlines, the mechanism. That's what we do here at Curious Brain Lab. If that's what you're looking for, you're in the right place.
Understanding the system, not the headlines, not the outrage, but how it actually functions, is the only honest starting point. Next time, we're going to look at the technology that's making even the 45-second window obsolete. What happens when that last window disappears entirely? It always gets harder.
Next video goes somewhere harder than this one. I'll be honest, I'm not sure I'm ready for it.